Hello guys, this is your friend Dark Verse. We are back with a new fanfic. Which is What If Naruto Unlocked fullKyubi Mastery Before the Chunin Exam Finals, Part 2 inches. And if you enjoy this fanfic, then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And no, start a new fanfic. Naruto rolled out of his bed and landed hard on the floor, waking him up. Looking around, he couldn't help but try to remember the last time his room had been so clean. Hell, he didn't even know that he had red carpeting. Wait, I don't have red carpeting. Where am I? Thought Naruto as he sat up, surveying the room that he had been sleeping in. Hey Kurama, where am I? And why do I feel so sore? Because you used too much chakra. Your muscles couldn't handle being infused with as much of my chakra as you pumped through them, and they started to break down. Thankfully, you're already healing, so the most you should be feeling right now would be like the after effects of a serious workout. That's good. Does that mean I'll be faster and stronger? No. In fact, you will probably be a little slower and weaker. Your muscle were breaking down. I'm not sure if you lost anything, but you certainly didn't gain anything. Shit, stated Naruto as he stood up on wobbly legs and began inspecting the room he was in, finding it somewhat dusty, as if it hadn't been lived in for a while. Don't worry, Kit. Your body is adapting to the strain already. Soon you shouldn't suffer any ill effects at all. Thanks, Kurama. Go ahead and get some rest. Naruto looked over the room. He began feeling an odd sense of familiarity, as if he has been here before. The red carpet, red walls, cherry oak dressers, even the picture. Naruto all but ran to the dresser on the right side of the bed, where there sat 3 pictures. One was a beautiful redhead and a very well-endowed blonde, the next was a small red-headed girl with a very old red-headed woman. The last was old man Sarutobi and the beautiful redhead standing in the Hokage's office. Sarutobi was smiling at the camera while the redhead was smirking and pointing towards her black headband with a red leaf symbol. Mom. This is my mother. This is my mother's room, stated Naruto as he started crying. He moved towards the doorway, opening the door and started walking down the hallway. The first door he came to was a linen closet, the next was a bathroom. The next room Naruto entered forced him to his knees. The walls were blue, clouds painted on the ceiling, there was toys in the back left corner, dresser and mirror on the back wall. And a small crib that looked to be made out of the best wood money could buy. This was supposed to be my room. She loved me. Someone loved me. Naruto got up, walked over to the crib, and sat down next to it, leaning against it carefully, making sure not to break it. This was how Jiraiya found him almost an hour later. I see you found your room. Like it, Gaki, stated Jiraiya from the doorway, startling Naruto, who in his joy-filled state had all but shut himself off from the outside world. She loved me, pervy sage. I had a home. No, I have a home, stated Naruto happily as he rushed to Jiraiya, tackling him into the hallway, crying tears of joy into his chest. You ain't kiddin', Gaki. Your mother loved you with all her heart. So did your father. I still remember him fumbling around trying to put that damn crib together, stated Jiraiya with a laugh. Smartest man I've ever known, couldn't put that thing together to save his life. Why, you know who my dad is? Who is he? Where is he? Questioned Naruto as he got up off of Jiraiya. I knew your father better than anyone, well, except for your mother, those two were quite the pair. I'll tell you more when we get back. You have a meeting with Sensei in 10 minutes, and with your injuries, I doubt you can make it there by yourself. Stated Jiraiya as he led Naruto outside, where Naruto saw the outside of the small home. Jiraiya once again spoke up. They had lived in a tiny 1-bedroom apartment before they moved in here about a month before you were born. He said that there was no way his apartment would be safe for a baby. Hell, I'm surprised you lasted as long as you did in that dump. Wait, my apartment was. That's correct, Gaki. Your dad lived there from when he was a kid till he made Jonin, and some time after that. Though he cleaned the place out when they moved here, stated Jiraiya, Now come on, we have to be there soon, and I don't want too late. Unknown location. So this Gaki can already use his beast chakra? Asked a blue-skinned fish man. Yes. Zetsu reported that he is at least Jonin speed and power when he uses Kyubi's chakra, stated a dark-haired teen with Sharingan eyes. Perfect. You're way faster than that, and I'm way stronger than that. He won't be a problem at all, especially after I shave his legs off, stated Kisame with his patented shark-like grin. Do not underestimate him, Kisame. He defeated the One-Tails Jinchuriki with only moderate difficulty. He also seems to have taken after your old teammate. He even calls himself the demon of the hidden leaf, stated Itachi in his same monotone voice. Who cares? I'm the best water jutsu user there is, and there's no way the Gaki is better with a sword than me. Even if he was, the only sword that can handle Samahata is the Kubikiribocho, a sword the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki now possesses and wields in a devastating tandem with the hidden mist jutsu, silent killing and possibly chakra nature enhancements as well. Stated Itachi. He hated to admit it, but if his target could use silent killing and the hidden mist jutsu, it limited him to only a handful of lower-level genjutsu in his ninjutsu. There were ways for him to get around the hidden mist jutsu, though it did require setting up the battlefield as he went along. Well shit, hopefully he's as good as you say, I wouldn't want to be disappointed. Hokage's office. Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage, sat behind his desk, working on some of the massive amount of paperwork that had somehow appeared on his desk after Sand and Sound foolishly invaded. At the end of the battle, less than 15 Konoha ninja lost their lives, though hundreds of Sand and Oto nin were killed, including the fourth Kazekage, who had thoughtlessly attacked the Hokage, stating that Sarutobi was nothing but an old man well past his prime. The fight was short. Sarutobi had crushed his skull in with Enma after a short taijutsu bout. Now Kakashi, Asuma, Kurenai, Shino, Shikamaru, Sakura, and Sasuke, whose arm was in a cast now, were standing before him. Good. Now when Naruto and Jiraiya get here we can begin. Already here, sensei. Came a deep voice behind Sarutobi. Everyone looked to see the Gamma Sennin on the roof outside the far left window, facing the Hokage monument. Jiraiya, how many times have I told you to use the door? And where's Naruto? Questioned Sarutobi, not sensing the usually unrelenting ball of energy he had usually sensed when the boy was in his office. Come on, old man, if you can't even sense a genin, then I think it's time you hand over that hat. Sarutobi's eyes widened along with everyone else's as their eyes snapped to the far right window, where a blue cloak and blonde hair were visible behind a human-sized sword. Oh, I think I have a few years left in the tank. After all, I did just defeat a fellow Kage in combat. Now if you two would be so kind as to enter this room, we can begin, stated Sarutobi calmly, though on the inside he was still in a state of shock. Jiraiya, I can understand, he's the king of stealth, but Naruto just snuck up on me. I didn't hear him, smell him, or even sense his chakra. How is it possible to be able to hide both his presence and that of the Kyubis? To have come so far in just a month. Naruto limped his way into the room, his body still stiff from overusing Kyubi's chakra. He stood as far away from Team 7 as possible, using the massive frame of Jiraiya as a buffer to block them out as much as possible. I don't want to be anywhere near them when they find out I was taken off the team almost a month ago. Alright, now that everyone is here, I have some announcements to make. First off, would Shino Aburame and Shikamaru Nara please step forward? Shino and Shikamaru stepped forward, as Sarutobi had requested, their faces showing no emotions, Shino because he was an Aburame, Shikamaru because he legitimately didn't care about anything happening around him. Due to your performances in the exams and your efforts in the invasion, you are hereby promoted to Chunin. Shikamaru's eyes widened while Shino stayed calm, though Naruto was sure he could hear his hive buzzing louder. Sasuke was about to say something, but a squeeze on his injured shoulder from Kakashi stopped him. Sarutobi handed each boy a Chunin vest, shaking each ninja's hand and wishing them good luck in their new roles. Now on to our second promotion of the day. Naruto Uzumaki, I am promoting you to Special Jonin. Your speed, strength, and ninjutsu are all Jonin level, and your tactics, along with your skill in stealth, have shown greatly in both of your fights. You would be promoted to Jonin, but your Genjutsu and Taijutsu are still too weak for me to do so. Your Kenjutsu skills also need work, stated Sarutobi with a smile on his face, which was erased by a certain duck-haired Uchiha. Why is the Dobi being promoted? And to Jonin no less? Questioned the Uchiha. He had seen the blonde idiot defeated the Hyuga, but the Hyuga was weak. Well, Sasuke, after you fell to Gaara when he dislocated the joints in your hand and arm, Naruto defeated him. Naruto was the one that found out about the invasion and defeated the biggest threat to the village. On top of that, since you obviously weren't listening to what I just said, he has Jonin level skill in water ninjutsu, stealth, tactics, speed, strength, and summoned one of the big three toads, stated Sarutobi, his tone final and his eyes locked onto the young Uchihas. Lord Hokage, though I agree with this promotion, I must ask what will happen to my team if Naruto now has special Jonin duties? Asked Kakashi. He felt shame as he watched Naruto put his new Jonin vest on under his coat, knowing he didn't help him at all, or at least since he had watched him in Anbu. Kakashi couldn't help but draw parallels between Naruto and his dead sensei. The cloak and Jonin vest were the same, as well as the blue bodysuit, though the colors were different. Glad you asked. Naruto was, and has been, removed from Team 7 since before the finals of the Chunin exams. After several complaints into your teaching, I determined that Naruto was better off by himself. It will be determined later as to where he will be rested, stated Sarutobi, finding a strange enjoyment at the dumbfounded looks on everyone in the room, besides Naruto and Jiraiya faces. But if Naruto isn't on the team, then what will we do? Questioned Sakura. Team 7 will back up other Genin teams on all C-rank missions outside the village and fill in for the clan heirs on their respective teams when they have clan business. Other than that, you are now on reserves, stated Sarutobi. Now I must ask you all to leave. Jiraiya and I have some business to attend to. Kakashi, you stay, you have a lot to explain. I'll meet you back at your house, Gaki. Oh, might want to check the basement. There is some intense material down there on ceiling, stated Jiraiya as everyone left the room. Sasuke was visibly angry, even more so than usual, at the very thought that the Dobi was stronger than him. Sakura was, for once, not following the Uchiha, her mind reliving every mean thing she had ever done to the blonde. Asuma and Kurenai were re-evaluating their own teams in their head. If Kakashi had missed the gold mine that was Naruto Uzumaki, perhaps they had as well. Alright, see you soon, pervy sage. Hey old man, you know where Tenzo is? Asked Naruto. I believe he is helping rebuild the south wall, but by now he's probably passed out from chakra exhaustion, stated Sarutobi. Naruto shot out the window at speeds only the Jonin or higher could see. Hard to believe half of his muscles are strained from that fight, isn't it? He is his father's son, stated Jiraiya. Sensei, I'm telling him tonight that Minato is his father. I'm going to be taking him with me for a while. You are his master now, Jiraiya, and as he is now granted Jonin level clearance, he can leave with you whenever he wants, stated Sarutobi. Now Kakashi, I already know that you taught them the bare minimum. Tell me in your own words why you did that, and I might let you continue to teach the other two. South Wall. Naruto appeared next to the nearly completely rebuilt South Wall, kicking up a cloud of dust as he stopped. Man Kurama, how much longer until I can use your chakra without it hurting this bad? Probably a week. As long as you don't go above 5% flow, you should be fine. Naruto was taken out of his internal conversation when a familiar voice reached his ears. Hey there, Naruto. Congrats on the promotion to Chunin. You're one of us now, buddy. Azumo. That's a Jonin best, stated Katetsu, sitting to the gate guard box, his eyes trained on the forest green vest of the young blonde. What? Questioned Izumo, looking at the best in question. How did you get a Jonin vest? Simple. He was promoted to special Jonin. How's it feel to have a 13-year-old superior to you? Stated a cheery voice behind them. They turned around to see an Anbu member. Hey Tenzo, I was looking for you. Stated Naruto excitedly. Well, come on, there is some people I want you to meet. Stated Tenzo. He adjusted his mask and took off towards the center of the village, Naruto following closely behind. How do you think he got a sword of the hidden mist? Questioned Katetsu, staring at the back of the blonde as he bounded away. How does that kid do half the shit he does? Konoha Flower Shop. Ino was in the back room taking inventory when she heard the front door open, ringing the bells that were hung above the doorframe. Just a moment. Take your time, Ino. Came a crying voice from the front of the store. Sakura? Questioned Ino as she scrambled out of the back room, finding her friend leaning against the counter, her face in her hands. Sakura, what's wrong? I'm such a horrible person. Sakura muttered. Ino was about to retort when Sakura looked up and smiled, her eyes puffy and her makeup running. Shikamaru, Shino and Naruto all got promoted. That's great and all, but why are you crying? Questioned Ino, her voice confused as she got behind the counter. Naruto isn't a part of Team 7. He hasn't been for a month. Stated Sakura, still crying lightly. What? Why? Questioned Ino. Naruto wouldn't ask for a transfer, would he? I don't know, something about complaints and him requesting to leave. Stated Sakura. What complaints could there be? You have the strongest genin team in the village. And why would he request to leave the team? Questioned Ino. I don't know. After the wave mission I started being nice to Naruto, since he basically saved mine and Sasuke's lives, but he seemed to grow more and more distant with us until the Chunin exams. Then at some point during the month break, he was removed from the team and now he's a Jonin. Stated Sakura. Wait. Did you just say he is a Jonin now? Seriously? Questioned Ino. Sort of. Hokage-sama called him a special Jonin. Something about not being skilled enough to be a Jonin but too strong to be a Chunin. Stated Sakura. But it doesn't matter anyway, now without Naruto. Is your team being disbanded? Questioned Ino. No, we're getting a new member next graduation class, until then we are on reserve, but I don't know we can even be a team anymore. With Naruto gone, there's no one to hold the team together. And if that's not bad enough, he hates me now. Stated Sakura, her crying starting again. He doesn't hate you. Naruto is too nice to hate anyone, let alone you. Reassured Ino. You weren't there, Ino. He stood as far away from me as possible and the only time he so much as looked towards me. His eyes were like the fires of hell, stated Sakura. Why that little? Don't worry, Sakura. My shift is over and we're closing for the day, but I'll go talk to Naruto. I'm sure that this is all a big misunderstanding. Stated Ino as she walked Sakura out of the shop and locked the door behind her. Now go get some rest, you look like you haven't slept in days. I'll sort everything out with Naruto, I was going to see him anyway. Thanks Ino, mumbled Sakura as she walked towards her home. I doubt that he could ever hate you, Sakura. And I'll prove it, and maybe get a hot boy toy as a bonus. Hokage office. So you refused to teach them anything of value until their teamwork improved, took AC rank thinking they would improve, and then when you found out that you were out of your league you pressed on anyway. To make matters worse, you come away from the C-A rank mostly unharmed and believe that they are strong enough to take the Chunin exams. You forsake Naruto and stick him with a teacher that you know is publicly against him, train Sasuke in a stolen taijutsu style and then you teach him an A-rank assassination jutsu. Do I have all of that correct? Questioned Sarutobi, his voice cold, his eyes hard. Sir, I only taught Sasuke that move so that he could defeat Gaara, stated Kakashi. Bullshit. There were 100 ways you could have taught that brat to beat him. Genjutsu, water jutsu, hell you could have taught him that eye trick that you figured out. You were playing favorites. You wanted Sasuke to win the finals. What better way than to teach him a jutsu that many genin wouldn't use properly, then make it so he would either face his own stunted teammate or a close-range fighter that would be weak against your student, stated Jiraiya. That's not true. Naruto should have never beaten Neji in the first place. He was hiding his strength. How was I supposed to know he was really high Chunin level? Stated Kakashi. You disappoint me, Kakashi. Even if Naruto was weak, it's your job to make him stronger. If you had done nothing, just turned him loose with a shitty instructor, I would agree that you did something right. But you gave him to a man who hated him, then go and teach your strongest student one of your best ninjutsu. You were playing favorites. Stated Jiraiya as he got up and moved to the window. He's my student now. It's up to him if you can still talk to him. By the way, if you teach that Uchiha any of Minato's jutsu, I will kill you and that Uchiha. With Sasuke. Damn that Dobi. I deserve that power. How was he able to increase his speed so much in a month? And when did he gain Zabuza's sword? I know we left that in Wave. He also knows all those jutsu he didn't before. And I can't copy them. Every time I try to use one of them I end up losing control of the jutsu. Shouted Sasuke mentally as he shoved another Chidori into the training post. I am going to kill that Dobi. Then I'm going to Orochimaru. If the Dobi improved that much under a Sannin, then I'll grow tenfold, and then Itachi will fall at my feet. I won't even need to take Danzo up on his offer. Odo. Damn that Uzumaki brat, stated Orochimaru as he read over the reports of the invasion. Foolish. Suna loses a quarter of their forces in their cage. Perhaps I will send Kabuto to get some more test subjects. That Uzumaki brat needs to be dealt with. If he's anything like his father, he will be a thorn in my side. I'll have the Sound 4 kill him when they go get Sasuke. Naruto. Naruto was now sitting in his basement, looking at a seal on the wall. He had just gotten home from meeting the sword couple, Yugao and Hayate. He remembered Hayate from the preliminaries. He never would have thought the coughing proctor would be the foremost kenjutsu expert in the village, but then again, first impressions were rarely accurate. After Tenzo had informed him that the two would be training him in their off time, Naruto had been ecstatic, but now that he thought about it, he wasn't too sure. Pervy Sage said something about a training trip. If I'm not here, how can they train me? Whoever made this was a genius, mumbled Naruto as he looked at the seal that covered most of the back wall of the small house. The basement was actually a small library and office space that was lit by seals that simulated natural sunlight. There was a small corner dedicated to what Naruto figured to be taijutsu training, though there was only one dummy, and not much room to move around in. It looks like a blood seal. I bet Mom stored all kinds of great stuff in here. Naruto bit his thumb and smeared the blood over the center of the seal. With a low grumble, the back wall started to sink down, allowing Naruto to see what it had hidden. No way. But that would mean my dad was unknown. Danzo sat quietly in the dark room that was his base. And Blank Mask Anbu arrived and bowed before him, waiting for his orders. What have you found? Sir, the Hokage is not suspecting you in this invasion, though Master Jiraiya has informed him that he wishes to take the Kyubi container with him when he leaves the village again, stated the Anbu. What of the Uchiha? Questioned Danzo. He has been training. He is very adept with the Hitaki's Chidori, stated the root agent. We have witnessed Kabuto of Odo spying on him. Distract Kabuto and seal off Sasuke's memories of me. I don't want Orochimaru finding out that I have offered him training, stated Danzo. He watched the man before him about to leave in a blur and motioned to wait. I must obtain the Kyubi Jinchuriki and bring him here. Make sure that Jiraiya is not around when you do so. Actually, I'll just call a meeting with Hitaki, Hiruzen and Jiraiya, then that brat will be wide open. Dismissed. No way. But that would mean my dad was the fourth, stated Naruto in disbelief as he looked around the unsealed room, 3-pronged kunai hung around the room, a sword was hanging on the backmost wall, a large red and gold scroll sat on a pedestal beneath the sword, two smaller one on each side of the large one, the left one was gold, the one on the right was blue. The room was an armory and library that was built by his hero, and he was now in awe at finding out he was the man's son. The room itself was nearly the size of the whole basement. Waist-high racks of books and scrolls lined the walls. In the center of the room was 10-foot diameter ceiling array that seemed to shimmer the air around it. What is that? It's not a containment seal, pondered Naruto as he inspected the oversized array. There's 10 expansion seals around the perimeter and a bilateral gravity seal in the middle. But then why are there resistance seals linked with both the gravity seal and the... He was seriously going to have to thank Jiraiya for teaching him how to at least recognize the advanced aspects in sealing, as he doubted that he would even know what those seals were otherwise. No way in hell. The fourth, my dad, made a self-contained gravity room, stated Naruto, summoning a shadow clone and having it move to the center of the seal. Naruto watched as the clone walked into the seal circle, moving slower and slower, only for the clone to crumple to the floor and poof out of existence once it reached the middle. Naruto sat shocked at the memories the clone sent back. The gravity increase is ridiculous. It's like the gravity seals that Tenzo told me about, only the whole area is like that. And it's way bigger from the inside, almost 100 feet across instead of the 10 that I see from here. I wonder. No, you're in no shape to enter that seal array. You have torn muscles all over your limbs and most of your body is strained otherwise. It's a miracle that you can even move right now. Going in a high-gravity environment such as that is asking to end up like your friend in green after my sibling got through with him. Fine. Way to ruin my fun, responded Naruto as he walked around the seal and up to the pedestal where the 3 scrolls sat. Might as well read the small gold one first. Maybe this was one of Dad's. Kiri. Well, I'll be damned, stated Ao, reading over an intelligence report that just came in from one of their spies. Mei-sama, you were correct to let that boy keep the Kubikiribocho. Seems he's already made a name for himself. Really? How so? Questioned Mei, her interest piqued when the young blonde was mentioned. Said blonde had been on her mind quite a bit lately, though she wasn't sure why. The boy beat a Hyuga prodigy in outstanding fashion before defeating the one-tailed Jinchuriki by using a mixture of silent killing, mind games, and I quote, the densest hidden mist jutsu our informant has ever seen. Says he also summoned a giant toad to help when the one-tail container fully transformed, though it wasn't Gamabunta, it says he was equal in height, stated Ao, though I doubt the boy can actually do all of that. After all, he is just a genin, even Kakashi Hatake wasn't that skilled at that age, and I doubt he is on par with Itachi Uchiha. Don't doubt him, Ao. Before I even gave him a scroll, he was Jonin level speed and strength. There's no telling what that boy will accomplish in the years to come, stated Mei, her thoughts going back to her first time meeting the young man, and the literal ease he was able to throw Zabuza's sword around. Well, perhaps we should recruit him to join us then, joked Ao, not even remotely serious about doing just that. It's not a bad idea. Council chambers. Why are we here? And where are those idiot civilians? Questioned Sume Inuzuka. Danzo has called this meeting, stated Sarutobi simply, not wanting to give anything away, even though he was sure it was about Naruto's promotion, or Sasuke's lack thereof. So why don't you fill us in, old man? What could be so important that you would call a full military council meeting? Questioned Jiraiya, who stood behind Sarutobi. Danzo frowned at the disrespect the Toad Sanin always treated him with. It has come to my attention that the Kyubi Jinchuriki not only can use the beast's chakra, but also has been promoted to Special Jonin, has been removed from Team 7 and is now your apprentice, Jiraiya. I wish to inquire why the council wasn't informed, stated Danzo, his face staying impassive. Who cares? The kid beat a Jinchuriki and can use not only 3 of the Hidden Mist's most well-known jutsu, but can also use one of their legendary swords. The only question I have is why he wasn't made Jonin. I fail to see why there was a council meeting called over this, questioned Shukaku, his head never moving from its position on the table. The other clan heads all agreed with him, though the elders were visibly displeased with the lazy Nara's comment. The council has been called because the boy possesses an imminent threat to the village. If he can use its chakra, then he can be influenced by it. If he can be influenced by it, then he could lose control of the beast and end up losing control entirely or worse, release it, stated Danzo, a small smirk played out on his lips. He's not being influenced by the beast. That seal is as strong as the day my former student put it on. I checked it this morning. Plus the fact that everyone in this room has already been informed of his special Jonin status, as well as the advancement of both Shikamaru Nara and Shino Aburame, stated Jiraiya, his eyes narrowed at the seemingly crippled old man. The only reason we are all here is so you can make a play to gain control of him. Danzo was about to retort when a loud explosion sounded from the west side of the village. In an instant, both Jiraiya and Sarutobi were out the doors, both the same thought in mind. That came from Naruto. Damn. They may get there before my men have a chance to grab the boy. With Naruto, Sarutobi and Jiraiya arrived to find Naruto was covered in blood, unconscious on the ground outside his house. There was a clear path where a line of trees had been vaporized, as well as what remained of 5 bodies littered around the young blonde, 2 missing heads, 1 missing his left leg with Naruto's sword run through his chest and 2 that had been cut in half. What the happened here? Questioned Jiraiya as he observed the area around his godson before moving to Naruto's side and checking his vitals, which, thankfully, were normal. It looks like none of this blood is his, though there is no way to be sure. I'll take him to the hospital. Anbu, commanded Sarutobi. In less than a second, 4 Anbu had appeared around the old man. Seal the village and nobody enters this immediate area. I want the bodies taken to Inoichi and Ibiki. This area must be searched for any wounded that could answer our questioning. Then I want this entire area catalogued for any other clues. This attack on Naruto's life can't be a coincidence after the Chunin exams and I need to know who is responsible. Move. With Naruto at hospital, Naruto stir awake in the lumpy hospital bed. The moment he regained consciousness, he was out of the bed, up on his feet and his hands were flashing through hand seals. Naruto. It's okay, you're safe. Stand down, commanded Tenzo from the corner of the room, running his own hand seals to restrain the blonde in case he couldn't calm him down. The familiar voice brought Naruto back to reality. He realized that he was in a hospital room. In the room with him was Tenzo, mask on his face, and a young nurse that had probably been checking him for something, though she had a deep red blush in her face. At some point during Naruto's jump from the bed to where he was now across the room, he had lost his hospital gown, and was now standing in his hospital room. Naruto felt the floor shift and a chest-high wall emerged in front of him. The nurse shook her head and regained her composure. Why, your vitals are normal, but your chakra network is strained heavily as well as most of your muscles, stated the nurse. Her blush increasing as she examined his body, which was way too well developed to belong to a 13-year-old. Also your throat is very raw, so you should limit your talking. I don't know what happened to cause all these injuries, but you're lucky man to be up so soon and you may worry someone SP special if you don't take better care of yourself. How long till I can leave? Questioned Naruto, his voice hoarse. You're going to be stuck here for a while you recover. I'll be sure to stop by and check on your recovery, Naruto-kun, winked the nurse as she walked out of the room, swaying her hips, making sure that the blonde hunk got a good view. That was weird, stated Naruto. He then grabbed his hospital gown from the floor and got back into his lumpy hospital bed. Where's the old man and pervy sage? I need to tell them something. I'll send for them. For now just get some rest. I'll make sure nothing bad happens, stated Tenzo with a hidden smirk, though with the looks that hot young nurse was giving you. No bad, Tenzo. I need to stop being around Jiraiya-sama so much. Danzo. Explain. commanded Danzo as he looked down one of his root ninja, laying in the medical bay of his base, right arm cut off at the shoulder, a group of med nin healing the stub. He isn't human. We had him surrounded when he just mist appeared faster than we anticipated. The last thing I remember before retreating was the captain ordering a retreat and then losing his leg, which was when I barely escaped, muttered the crippled ninja, his mind obviously still rattled from whatever the Uzumaki had done. Is there any way you can be traced back to us? Questioned Danzo, his tone still flat. No. Captain made sure we did everything as Code 6. Good. Once you're healed, report to the genetics lab and see what they can do, stated Danzo, turning and walking away. Damn, 8 lower-level ninja and a captain lost to that brat. And now Hiruzen may be suspicious of me. This is not good. I am going to need to see that report when it's filed and make sure that nothing of value was found. With Naruto. Are you doing alright, Naruto? Questioned Sarutobi, his voice laced with concern at seeing his newest special Jonin hospitalized for the first time in 6 years. Yay. I'm good. Who were those people who tried to abduct me though? Asked Naruto, his voice less hoarse than when he first woke up. What do you mean abduct you? Actually, just tell us the whole story, stated Jiraiya, pulling out a different notepad, obviously wanting to miss any details that the blonde could give them. Well, I was just leaving the house to see if I could talk to Gaara when. Flashback. Naruto Uzumaki. You are to come with us, stated a blank masked Anbu that dropped down next to Naruto. Almost immediately, 9 more dropped down from the forest around him. Naruto began making one-handed hand seals with his left hand at speeds that few of the Anbu could keep up with, yet none recognized. His right hand flew to his sword handle, and then he disappeared into an impossibly fast-forming fog as he stated, hidden mist jutsu. Form a parameter, shouted the captain. The unknown Anbu formed up in a circle. Keep your head up. He can strike from anywhere. Especially behind you, came a phantom voice in the middle of the circle, killing intent freezing several of the Anbu. Most fled the circle, the unlucky 2 that didn't move in time were chopped in half. You've made a terrible mistake. And now you will all die. Naruto moved at his maximum speed, not using Kurama's chakra. Another fell to a lost limbs, 2 more lost heads. Finally the captain lost his leg. Retreat. Naruto felt the remaining Anbu retreat, all in the same direction. Kurama, I need a range attack. Focus my chakra to your throat and burp. Burp. Just do as I say. Naruto built up a huge amount of Kurama's chakra in his throat, feeling it actually swell from the influx of demonic chakra. When he felt he couldn't hold any more, he opened his mouth and actually burped. A pillar of golden chakra exploded from his mouth, vaporizing the retreating Anbu and the forest around them. With his last ounce of energy, Naruto threw his blade, impaling the captain through the chest as he attempted to escape despite losing one of his legs. Naruto then fell face first, unconscious, covered in blood and filled with pain. Flashback end. At first when you said it was they wanted abduct you, I figured this might have been a Kumo attempt much like what your mother went through in the past, however after what you told us, I'd say this has Danzo written all over it. The timing of the meeting we were just in is too perfect to think otherwise. Gaki, as soon as you're healed we're going to leave, it's time to start your real training trip, stated Jiraiya, giving his notepad to Sarutobi and pulling out a scroll and jotting down locations he felt would be beneficial to his apprentice. Very well. In the meantime I will have Tenzo launch an investigation. Even if it wasn't Danzo, this was a wake-up call. Next day, word had traveled fast of Naruto's hospitalization as well as him taking out several unknown Anbu. So far Team 8 and Team Guy had come by. Both Kurenai and Guy had given him gifts for making Jonin. Guy had somehow found a set of orange taijutsu sandals that had metal plates reinforcing the top and heels of his feet, as well as a list of holes that Guy had found in his fights with Neji and Gaara, for which Naruto had thanked him repeatedly. Kurenai had given him a scroll of several high chakra usage genjutsu that Naruto could actually use. At the end of the scroll, Naruto found a picture of Kurenai in a very skimpy bikini. Thankfully he was alone when he found it, as he had passed out from a nosebleed. He needed to make sure that Pervy Sage never found that, or he had a feeling Kurenai-sensei would make his life a living hell. The remaining genin of Team 7, Choji, and Asuma were on a mission while Shikamaru had stopped in after finishing the clan business that had kept him from going on said mission. The boy didn't know what Ino was doing, as she wasn't on a mission and she had yet to come visit him. Currently Naruto sat in his room, while the nurse from the day before was feeding him and giggling at the disgruntled look on the blonde's face. Just then Naruto sensed someone standing at the door. "And here I thought you forgot about me. What can I do for you, Ino?" 1 week later, Naruto stood at the northern gate, Jiraiya at his side. Team Guy, Team 8, and Team 10 had already said their goodbyes. Ino and Kurenai both giving the young Jonin a hug, though Ino had taken it a step farther and giving Naruto a kiss on the cheek. Hinata and Kiba had wished him luck on his travels. Choji and Shikamaru had gotten the blonde a jumbo pack of ramen and Shino had simply nodded to him, though Naruto could feel Shino's turbulent emotions, as well as hear his hive buzzing louder. Now Sasuke and Sakura stood before Naruto. "See you when you get back, Naruto," said Sakura. She gave him a hug and whispered into his ear. "Thank you for forgiving me. I know you told Ino that you didn't hate me, but I know that on some level you did, and I am sorry. It's not in me to hate a teammate. I told Ino the truth, and I am telling you that it's okay," stated Naruto, returning the hug. Suddenly Naruto pulled his sword off of his back and chopped Jiraiya's notebook in half. "Don't you use this in your smut, Pervy Sage. You're no fun Gaki," stated Jiraiya with a pout, pulling out another notepad and transferring his precious research. "Sasuke, how are you doing?" questioned Naruto, who had gotten the chance to read the mission report and found out that Sasuke had gotten his first kill on the mission he just got back from. "Don't you worry about me, Dobi. I'd be worried about falling behind me," stated Sasuke with a smirk, though Naruto could feel his emotions swirling violently. "Just you wait, Dobi. By the time you get back, Orochimaru will have made me stronger than you could ever be. Then I'll finally be strong enough to kill my brother. You're on, Sasuke. Just don't die on me," stated Naruto. "I'll see everyone when I get back." Jiraiya and Naruto turned and made their way down the road away from the village, the glare off of Naruto's sword blinding the group as disappeared into the distance. "Oto, you are to go to Konoha, obtain Sasuke Uchiha and kill Naruto Uzumaki. Your first priority is Sasuke. He must be brought here, no matter what. If you run across the Uzumaki, kill him," stated Orochimaru. Before him stood the Sound 4. "You cannot be caught. Kill anyone who finds you. Do not draw unnecessary attention." "Hi, Master," responded all of the Sound 4 before taking off on their 2-day journey. "Sir, are you sure it was wise to send them? None of them are above High Chunin in speed and none of them are good enough to face Uzumaki unless they use the second level of the Curse Seal, and even then only Kidomaru can fight without his eyes," stated a worried Kabuto, knowing full well how dangerous a swordsman that wielded a sword and the jutsu of the mist could be. "I think you overestimate him, Kabuto. After all, he is a genin, maybe Chunin. He has no real power," stated Orochimaru, scoffing at the very thought of Minato's brat being stronger than his personal guards. "Even if the brat is strong enough to kill one of them, I can just send Kimimaro." "Sir, did you read the latest report?" questioned Kabuto carefully, not wanting to anger his master, yet wanting to make sure he knew all the risks that the blonde posed. "Why would there be a new report?" questioned Orochimaru dangerously, his eyes narrowing at his most trusted subordinate. "Well, sir, our spy reports that the Uzumaki is a special Jonin now. And he's leaving with Jiraiya to train. Iowa. In an old run-down building on the south side of the village, several councilmen and high-ranking Jonin were meeting about an issue of grave importance. At least to them it was important. "I believe you all know why you are here today. that old fence-sitter has decided that we should forget the past and just overlook the fact that that bastard Minato Namikaze has a son," stated an elderly councilman, hate evident in his voice. "I say we hunt the little bastard down and kill him. Our village suffered enough with what that monster did to all our families, let's get back at him by killing his only kid," shouted a Verdun Jonin. "There's a problem. He's extremely powerful. He was able to defeat a Hyuga in hand-to-hand combat and has Zabuza Momochi's blade, plus he's the container of the Kyubi, and can use its power. He even defeated the One Tail with its power and summoned Gameiken, which means that he is being trained by Jiraiya of the Sannin," stated an informant that was at the Chunin exams. Everyone paused at that information. If the kid could summon Gameiken, then he was no doubt being trained by Jiraiya of the Sannin, and would most likely be close by whenever they decided to attack. "We're going to need Han and Roshi." Naruto and Jiraiya had not made much progress. Naruto was working on his chakra control and wind manipulation with clones while he himself was working lightly on reflexes, speed and the Rasengan. In the meantime, Jiraiya was working out how to maximize Naruto's training, as they had just made it to the border of Rice Country earlier in the day. They were moving slow for the time being, as Jiraiya wanted Naruto to be as combat ready as possible before they moved into Rice Country. Hunting down Orochimaru and any information about his activities would be complicated if Naruto was still slowed down by injuries. "Hey pervy sage," called out Naruto from his spot on the head of the first Hokage statue, thinking that maybe sitting on the head of the mammoth statue, he would gain some of the Mon's knowledge. So far, nothing had happened. "No Gaki, I'm not teaching you any more until you can form a complete Rasengan. And I don't have any more tips for you," stated Jiraiya from the edge of the cliff next to the falls, a scroll in his left hand and a brush in his right. "Why does everyone call you a sage?" questioned Naruto as he looked back at the empty balloon in his hand. Jiraiya was silent for a minute, unsure of how to answer the question. "Well, that was unexpected. If I told him he would want to learn it. But would he need it? If he can fully harness the Kyubi's power, then Sage Mode won't help at all." Naruto asked Kyubi what he knows about nature chakra and if his chakra could mix with it. "All right," responded a confused Naruto. "Hey Kurama. You hear that?" "Yes brat, I did. Get comfortable, this is going to take a while." "Hokage's office. You called for us Hokage-sama?" questioned Shikamaru as he and Shino walked into the office. Last night at roughly 11 o'clock, Sasuke Uchiha was reported to have left the village by Sakura Haruno. "She did not say if he left of his own free will or if he was taken," stated Sarutobi. Both of the boys' eyes widened at the information. "I am assigning both of you as co-squad leaders. Your mission is to gather any available genin and chunin to assist in the recovery of Sasuke Uchiha. I have already sent for reinforcements from outside the village. Get a Hyuga and an Inuzuka squad member, as you will have to track him down. You will leave from the north gate in 1 hour. Dismissed." "Hi," both responded before darting out of the office. "This is very troubling. There is only 2 places Sasuke would run to. Itachi or Orochimaru. I will have to contact Itachi. If Sasuke falls into Orochimaru's hands, then the deal with Itachi will be null and void. Hopefully it does not come to that. But I must prepare in case it does," thought Sarutobi gravely. "Bore. Bring me Danzo Shimura, now." With Naruto. Naruto had been in a trance for about half an hour when Jiraiya felt a presence above them. Looking up, he saw a Konoha messenger eagle. Calling it down and sticking his arm out, the eagle descended, slamming into the Toad Sannin's arm. After a wince, Jiraiya took the scroll from its leg and shooed the messenger bird away. "I wonder why Sensei sent an eagle. Did he come up with something regarding the attempt on Naruto?" wondered Jiraiya. Opened the scroll, his eyes widening at the information. "Sasuke defected, didn't he?" asked the blonde from his lotus position. He has felt the bird and then felt Jiraiya's emotions spike moments later. "I figured he would. Ever since the Chunin exams he's been giving signals that he would." I was just too stupid to do anything about it. With Sasuke. So I take those pills and it will give me full control of my seal. Questioned Sasuke, his suspicion of the 5 people in front of him being clouded by the desire of more power. After all, he was able to destroy those Oto Genin when he used the seal, it would no doubt make him stronger. That'll show the Dobi. There's no way he will be able to beat me with this seal, then I can take on Itachi. Yep. And because you have the cursed seal of heaven, you will gain the biggest boost possible, stated Jirobo, his face passive. If you were, say, mid-Chunin level now, which I think you are, you will be roughly high Chunin with the first level, low Jonin in speed and strength when you activate the second, stated Karen, a red-headed, red-eyed girl that had yet to take her eyes off of Sasuke. Shut up, bitch. Stated to Yuya under her breath, tired of the girl that in her eyes was as useless as an ice cube in an ocean. Ladies shouldn't swear to Yuya, stated Jirobo kindly. Off fatso. Odo, you sent for me? Questioned Kimimaro as he moved slowly into the room. Yes. Orochimaru-sama has ordered that you be ready in case the Sound 4 fails to retrieve Sasuke, stated Kabuto, who had been working on a side project. They will not fail. You have told me that the Uchiha was mid-Chunin level. They are all high Chunin, stated Kimimaro, sitting down against the wall next to the door. True, but Konoha will no doubt send a retrieval team. Plus there is little to no chance that his ex-teammate won't try to help the retrieval team, stated Kabuto, his inner hate for the blonde-haired Jonin showing through slightly. Stupid brat, he completely rendered all information on himself useless. Was he hiding all of his talents? Or has he actually grown this quickly? The one who foiled the invasion attempt. I will be ready if needed, stated Kimimaro as he stood up and returned to his room. If we ever do fight Naruto Uzumaki, you will die by my hand for ruining Master Orochimaru's plans. Good. The Sound 4 might fall to him, but Kimimaro is more than a match for him, thought Kabuto happily as he added 2 vials together. But why send Kimimaro? He is already in failing health. There are plenty of others I could send, after all, Karen is already with them. With Shikamaru and Shino. Shikamaru and Shino stood with their backs to the north gate, in front of them stood Ino, Choji, Neji, and Kiba. Okay, as of right now, we are on an A, possibly S-rank retrieval mission to capture Sasuke Uchiha, who left under unknown circumstances last night during the guard shift change at 11 o'clock. That gives them an 11-hour lead, stated Shikamaru. I say capture, because we don't know for certain whether he willingly left or if he was taken. Therefore we must go under the worst-case scenario that he will attack us. The Nara continued drawing looks of concern from his team. It would be best if we streamlined our operations. Kiba should lead, as he and Akamaru have the best sense of smell as well as tracking skills, stated Shino. From there will we go into a cross formation, as I have discussed with Shikamaru. As Shino said, we will go into cross formation. This will have Shino and I side by side protecting Ino in the center. She will be our medical support and it will be vital to ensure her safety whenever possible. Also from this position Shino and I will be able to extend orders to the following members while Shino and Kiba can communicate due to their extensive history and teamwork. Behind us will be Choji, as our best all-around fighter. He will be able to respond in any direction needed. Neji will hold the rear and scan with his bloodline to ensure that we won't be ambushed, finished Shikamaru. So they're sending 2 Chunin and 4 Genin on an A-rank mission? Questioned Neji. This could be problematic. The Nara and Aburame are decent, as well as the Inuzuka, but it might not be enough. We will have prepared at least 1 wave of support, though 2 is likely. The first wave is thought to be 12 hours away while the second is approximately 20, stated Shikamaru. Who is our support? Iwagakure outskirts. What's it say Kakashi? Questioned Asuma, his body tense. Dad sent an eagle. We only use those for urgent information. My student has left the village. We are to meet a retrieval team and pursue, stated Kakashi, disappointment in his voice. Why would we need to retrieve Naruto? He's a Jonin with Jiraiya. Stated Kurenai. He better not show Jiraiya that picture. Actually, maybe he should. Me and Naruto in one of those books. It's not Naruto. Let's get going. Naruto. So they are on their way to the hidden village that you believe Orochi-Tem set up? Questioned Naruto. They would almost have to pass by this location to get there, unless they want to go all the way to Bird Country first. More or less, there are some secret passages that me and your father made for the Third War to outflank Iowa, but they're probably overgrown by now. This crossing point is the best to cross at, so they'll probably. Jiraiya paused. Use your senses, they're about a half-mile away and moving slowly. Naruto nodded and drew on Kurama's chakra, just enough to sense negative emotions at the range Jiraiya had said they were at. Either 5 or 6 people, 4 are mid-chunin, 1 is low chunin, and I believe there is another that may be mid-genin, but I can't tell for sure as they have very little negative emotions to them. Good work, Gaki, though I would say that there are 5 mid-chunin and 1 high-genin, but I have more experience. Now what do you sense about them? Questioned Jiraiya as he observed his student and continued to sit still to maintain the small flow of nature chakra he was collecting. All but the lower small one have heavy negative emotions, though the small one is chaotic, so they are either frightened or really exited. Stated Naruto. Very good, Gaki. Now, you're back to full health, right? 10 minutes later, Naruto stood alone on the head of Hashirama Senju's statue at the Valley of the End, channeling a small amount of demonic chakra to track the incoming group of ninja. Though he was focused on his task, his thoughts were split. So, you can use nature chakra, but you can't use sage mode because as a chakra beast, you can't regulate the 3 chakra types. Thought Naruto as he pondered what Kurama had just told him. That's the gist of what I just explained. Stated Kurama tiredly. Now Kit, these people are not like the Anbu that you killed, from what I can tell, they fight with power and speed, much like the spandex boy. That's good, as I have speed and power. As long as I can avoid them, they can't use their power. Thought Naruto as he kept focused on the incoming group. That is true, but for them to take the Uchiha, they have to be good. It's much harder to capture someone unharmed than it is to kill someone. And if that brat left by choice, then this group must either have outstanding skills, or a very powerful leader. So I should watch out for any tricks they might have and keep on my guard. Thought Naruto. You should always do that. But save your chakra, the less you use the longer you can fight, and versus multiple opponents, that's critical. Only use the hidden mist jutsu and in the blade. Keep my chakra as a last option. Your body has recovered and now you're just as strong as you were when you fought Shukaku's host. Got it. They should be coming out right now. Sound 4. There's 1, no, 2 presences up ahead. Stated Karen. One of the chakra signatures is cage in size, the other is. Wow, I have never felt so much. Cage chakra levels. Bullshit. Lord Orochimaru has cage chakra levels. The only person around here that has that much chakra is Jiraiya of the Sannin. Stated to Yuya. And what the kind of evaluation is, I've never felt so much. What are we talking here? Jonin. No, the first is definitely cage in size. And the other one is. Well, if the cage was a pond, then the other one is an ocean. Stated Karen. We should go around. There's no reason to fight them if they aren't looking for a fight. And if Red Eyes over here is right, they're way stronger than us, and we have to protect the kid in this barrel until he revives. Stated the 6-armed man known as Kidomaru, who was holding a giant barrel on his back. You were Orochimaru's personal guards. Even if the bitch is right, I guarantee that they're not stronger than all of us. Stated Sakin. We are fighting them and we are going to kill them. I missed my chance at that Uzumaki brat and there's no way I'm going to miss this. Too late now, they're in this upcoming clearing. Stated Karen with an amount of fear in her voice. She may be new to sensing, but she had been taught personally by Kabuto and Orochimaru, and she had never felt chakra as massive and as powerful as this. That's the border. We'll kill this guy and be safe from any more trash trying to catch up to us. Stated Sakin. Valley of the End. The Sound 4 burst into the clearing, the red-headed girl trailing slightly behind. They all stared at the man standing atop the head of the Hashirama Senju's statue. I don't believe my luck. This is the guy Kabuto told us to kill, shouted Sakin as he dropped into a battle stance. This twerp. This is the kid that Four Eyes told us to kill. Bullshit, stated to Yuya as she looked at the kid who seemed to be staring at all of them at once. Where is Sasuke Uchiha? If you turn him over to me, you will be able to leave this battle unharmed. Stated Naruto with authority and confidence. This trash. Beat us. That's a laugh. I could beat you with 5 arms tied behind my back, kid. Shouted the spider-like Kidomaru. Wait. He is wearing a Jonin vest. Are you sure this is the target? Questioned Jirobo. He didn't like this. Being this close he could actually feel the power this man put off. It was like Kimimaro. Hey, Fatso is right. Orochimaru said that the kid was a genin, chunin at the most. This isn't the guy we were assigned to kill. Stated to Yuya. Suddenly, a strong killing intent covered the area. Karen fell to her knees, not used to such power, though the members of the Sound 4 managed to stand their ground, if a little shaken. You think you can threaten my life and get away with it? I know who you are. You are the people Sasuke left with. It's my duty as a Tokubetsu Jonin to either return him to the village, or kill him. Whether or not you are taken down as well as your option. Stated Naruto. Oh, a Tokubetsu Jonin. He's nothing but a chunin with a few tricks. Laughed Sakin. I'd say more than a few. Hidden mist jutsu. Stated Naruto as the clearing they were centered in was overtaken by outrageously thick mist that even made it hard for Karen to locate the other chakra signatures. What the? That four-eyed bastard didn't say anything about this. Neither did Orochimaru. Stated to Yuya loudly. Thank God my jutsu work by sound, otherwise I'd be next to useless. Everyone, group up and face outward. Kidomaru, set up a net. Jirobo, set up a wall. Shouted Sakin as he and the other 4 moved into a ring around the barrel containing Sasuke. This isn't good, I hate to say it, but I'm not good at fighting at range, or when I can't see my opponent. Seconds started adding up while they waited, tensed and ready to strike. They had prepared for situations like this, but what they weren't prepared for was nothing. The nothingness continued for what seemed like hours, though in reality it was only a minute. The sound shinobi continued to grow more wary as time moved on, attempting to hear their opponent move, only to find that they couldn't hear anything. That is until Naruto made his move. Sklek. Thump. Thump. Jirobo and Yuya turned to their right and left respectively, only to find that Sakin was nowhere to be found. They both looked down, only to see in horror that their leader was now headless, crumpled to the ground. His head laying a foot behind his body. Shit. He got Sakin. Does that mean that Ukin is dead too? Wondered to Yuya. 1, 2. I've already got one of you. The remaining group members' eyes widened as the demonic sound reverberated from every direction at once. 3, 4. He's on the floor. Yuya began to panic. Her specialty was sound genjutsu, and she had absolutely no idea what this was. She had never felt anything like it before. Then, the killing intent increased. 5, 6. Let's throw some blood in the mix. Ah! Shouted out Kidomaru as his stomach was split open, nearly cutting him in half. He acted quickly, using his silk to stitch the wound together while he lay motionless on the ground, pretending to be dead. He had felt his web move ever so slightly, which allowed him to back up just enough as to not be cut in half. 7, 8. Death is your fate. Another swipe found its ways to the back of Karen's legs, severing her hamstrings, though missing anything vital. Karen did her best not to scream out, though she ended up letting out a choked sob of pain as she started to repair her own legs, while leaning over and helping Kidomaru patch himself up. 9, 10. Everyone heard the blade slice into a body, though there was no scream, no cry, or even a whimper. Tayuya turned to see the now dead body of Ukin, split down the middle, one side landing to the right of Sakin, the other laying over the top of him, a silent scream etched into both sides of his face, blood coating the ground around the dead parasitic twins. Fat ass. He got both of them. Go to level 2 and grab the crate, we have to get out of this mist. Shouted Tayuya as she began unleashing her curse mark. Her skin was overtaken by black markings that moved in slithering patterns before they began to fade away, staining her skin dark orange, almost brown as she began growing horns around her body. Jirobo had an identical transformation, although his hair had grown longer and his skin was hard and jagged. He grabbed the barrel and began moving, only to notice that the mist was being forced away by the chakra he and Tayuya were outputting. They're dissipating my mist with pure chakra. How is that possible? Are they Jinchuriki? No, the chakra isn't right, it's too controlled and dark to be a Jinchuriki. Curse marks. Thought Naruto as he released the mist, it wouldn't do any good if they could just blow it away. Alright, what's my next move? With the retrieval team. Huh, what is it boy? Questioned Kiba as he led the group after the sound 4. Akamaru whined in fear and snuggled deeper into Kiba's jacket, still shivering violently. Hey guys, Akamaru said that there's a huge battle up ahead. He says there's a bunch of blood in the air too. Did the support squad cut them off? Questioned Ino, slightly out of breath from the rapid pace they were keeping. Not possible. The Jonin were in Earth Country, that's half a day's run at Jonin speed and the unspecified group would have had to cover too much ground to be there right now. No, someone else got to them before us. Stated Shikamaru. My insects have detected traces of water chakra about 10 miles ahead of us. Also, there is a great chakra presence in that battle. Estimates are between High Jonin and High Cage, though I only have experience with Sandaime-sama and Naruto to base this on. Stated Shino. Could it be Naruto? I mean, he left with Jiraiya-sama 5 days ago, and they left in this direction. Stated Choji. It's possible. Naruto's reserves were outstandingly large during our fight. Unfortunately, my Byakugan cannot see that far, though there is a slowly dissipating cloud of chakra in the sky about 25 miles ahead. Added Neji, straining his eyes to further enhance the distance he could see. Let's speed up. If that estimate is correct, we're about an hour away from them at our current speed. States Shikamaru, who was busy trying to figure out the possible options of who could be holding the group back. Ino, though, was thinking about her fellow blonde. Naruto-kun, please be safe. With Jiraiya, you've done good Gaki. Real good. By taking out the parasitic duo, you've eliminated their apparent leader. Though that red-eyed girl seems to have already healed herself. Seems she's an Uzumaki, and that other redhead seems to be one as well, or at least half of one. Thought Jiraiya as he stood on a branch high above the clearing, suppressing his chakra to the point of non-existence. What are you gonna do now, kid? Back with Naruto. I'll ask again. Where is Sasuke Uchiha? Demanded Naruto as he placed his sword in his right hand, while he hid his left hand in his cloak. Well, if you really need to know, trash, he's in the barrel. Stated Tayuya, her vocal confidence returning with her curse mark activated to level 2. Kidomaru, what's your status? Questioned Jirobo. Another influx of power drew Naruto's attention as his eyes gazed over at the spider-like man and the red-headed girl. He watched as the Spider-Man rose to his feet, one of his left arms guarding where Naruto had slashed. His skin turned dark brown while his eyes turned pure black. The redhead who had been healing him was now behind the group. Red hair and talent for healing, and I don't feel a great deal of negative emotions coming from her. I'll try to capture her. If she's an Uzumaki, she might be one of last ones. And Spider Boy seems to have recovered fairly well, though he is still guarding that slash mark. Observed Naruto as he scanned the area. Sasuke is in the barrel, so there actually is a chance he was taken. I'll kill the other 3 and leave the redhead and Sasuke. I'll be fine, my level 2 healed everything that Red Eyes didn't, though it's pretty sore. stated Kitamaru as he moved next to the remaining Sound 4. Damn it. This trash almost ended me, and he got Sakin and Ukin. This is bad. If we mess up at all, we're dead. So you still plan on fighting me, even though I've taken out 2 of you? Questioned Naruto. Their chakra is like Sasuke's was in the Forest of Death, only more potent. Which means that they're going to be faster and stronger. I might need Kurama on this one, but I'm going to try to get at least one of them before that. No shit, trash. In this form, we're unstoppable. Stated Kitamaru, who then spit out a bow and arrow. This guy can use Zabuza Momochi's sword, which means he must be incredibly strong, though probably not as strong as Jirobo. Plus he can use the sword while moving around silently, which no doubt means that he has great physical control, and most likely very good at using chakra to both enhance his speed and cushion his feet. I don't know how fast he is, but with Sakin and Ukin gone, we are probably at a disadvantage. I'll crush you, stated Jirobo as he darted forward, his curse mark fueling him. To Naruto, it looked like he was moving in slow motion, high chunin maybe. For most people, he appeared to be a blur, but Naruto wasn't most people. He was used to low to mid jonin just from training, not to mention his sparring matches with Tenzo and Jiraiya. Naruto ducked under a punch and sent a right hook to Jirobo's gut. Even without his Kurama enhancements, it still did the job. Jirobo was stopped dead in his tracks. Even if the hit hadn't hurt the large ogre-like man, it stopped his momentum. Naruto spun behind him, slicing at the large man's back, earning a deep gash that crossed from Jirobo's left shoulder blade to his right hip. Naruto didn't give the others time to act as he moved as fast as he could, approaching the spider-like Kitamaru. He held his blade to the side ready to finish him off when Kitamaru held up his bow and arrow, firing it at the blonde's chest, only for Naruto to deflect it to his left with the flat of his sword. Kitamaru cursed and began producing another arrow, but wasn't able to by the time Naruto had gotten within range and delivered a vertical slash, just missing the spider-like man as he dodged to his right, only for Naruto to stick the blade in the ground and swing horizontally around the handle, kicking him in the face. Summoning technique. Doki, shouted to Yuya as she slammed her hand into the ground. A flash of smoke later revealed 3 massive ogre-like creatures, each had their eyes covered, ears covered and mouths sewn shut. Summoning technique. Kyodegumo, shouted Kitamaru, now standing on top of a giant black spider with red markings all over it. Jirobo looked on in anger, his back split and his spinal cord destroyed from the slash. He was next to useless now and he had reverted back to normal, not able to physically handle his curse mark anymore. I'm done, but at least I can get one last shot at that blonde prick. Kinjutsu. Earth Golem Bomb. Naruto heard the shout and became wary. He knew for a fact that Kinjutsu was bad news. He and the other moved far away as Earth started to build around the large man and compact down to rock. Boom. The rock-covered body exploded, sending rock shrapnel rocketing everywhere. Kitamaru had heard the name of the jutsu and shot a net in front of the giant spider, keeping him and the spider free from harm. Yuya commanded her doki to take the hit. Each took a few injuries, but not enough to dispel them. Naruto had hidden behind his blade, which withstood the barrage, but had a few dings and a large chip in it now. It's had worse. Hell, I almost snapped it in half when I tried to block Pervy Sage's Rasengan before the finals. That's 2 down. If you give me Sasuke and the girl with red eyes, you too will be spared. What do you want with me? Questioned the red-eyed girl loudly. Does he want to violate me? You have skill in healing. You could be a valuable asset to the village. Plus you are most likely an Uzumaki, like the other redhead. That just so happens to be the clan I'm trying to rebuild. Stated Naruto. If I can remove her from the fight, there's a better chance for me to win. I won't have to worry about her healing them. Clan? Questioned Karen. But Orochimaru-sama said that I wasn't from a clan, I'm an orphan. We refuse your offer. We're more than enough to defeat you, trash. stated to Yuya as she started playing on her flute. The doki sprung to life and headed straight at Naruto. Foolish, thought Naruto, who held his sword in front of him, horizontal to the ground. I hope this works, I've only managed to do this once. Wish me luck, Asuma-sensei. Flying swallow. The Kubikiribocho began to shine bright blue before taking on a green tint. Chakra extended from the end of the blade, coming to a point 5 feet from the end of the original blade, where the chakra ended. Naruto swung the now 10-foot-long sword as the doki approached. The wind-enhanced sword split the 3 doki in half before they faded out of existence. It's time I finish this, stated Naruto as the sword returned to normal. How much can I use, Kurama? Stick with 15%. I know you can handle almost 25 now, but that starts to break down your body. 15 should be more than enough. Just make sure you end this quickly. Even if you defeat them, there could be more coming, stated Kurama. Got it, replied Naruto as he started glowing red. The red shifted lighter and lighter, growing until it resembled a dark orange cloak. This ends now. Holy shit, what jutsu is that? First he kills all my doki in one move, then he starts glowing F, and now he look like he's surrounded by red chakra, thought to Yuya, frozen in fear. Even the Kyodaigumo is afraid of him now. What is this red chakra? Is it like our curse marks? Thought Kidomaru, who was taken out of his musings as the blonde disappeared from sight. He looked around quickly, not even picking up movement. Suddenly, Yuya flew backwards, folded over to the point that her forehead was almost touching her knees. Standing where she had been was the blonde-hair kid that they were told to kill, his legs still extended. Yuya bounced and rolled to a stop, her body against a tree, the curse mark receding as she coughed up some blood and passed out. That was a kick. How strong is this guy? That would have broken a civilian in half. Kyodaigumo, catch him in your web, shouted Kidomaru as he began looking for the blonde-haired kid again. The giant spider let out a horrible screech. Kidomaru looked down to see the blonde, his giant sword buried in the forehead of the Kyodaigumo, before the blonde pulled the blade out and retreated, waiting for the giant summon to dispel. You killed her. You killed Kyodaigumo, shouted Kidomaru in rage, his face gaining black lines, inadvertently forcing the curse seal to adapt a new level. I'm going to kill you. Well, that can't be good, thought Naruto as he tightened his grip on the sword. Kid, I think that's a new level. His chakra output just increased and it's stronger now. Be careful. Kidomaru charged, his speed rocketing to mid-jonin as he charged recklessly, all 6 fists coated in sticky spider gold, turning them into blades. He swiped at Naruto, aiming for the blonde's head, missing as Naruto ducked under and slashed with the sword, only for it to parried by one of the arm blades. Naruto jumped back, creating distance between the crazed Spider-Man and himself. He placed his sword on his back and began planning. He's faster now. With 6 arms it's hard to maneuver around him, all have to use ninjutsu. All ended with one shot. Shadow clone jutsu, shouted Naruto as 2 clones popped into position. Both clones nodded, already knowing the plan, and turned to their opponent. Naruto placed his hands on their backs and pumped some chakra into each clone as Kidomaru charged once again. Wind style, cyclone fist, water style, great collision wave. With Naruto pushing Kurama's chakra into the clones and providing a mental link. The 2 jutsu were able to combine, resulting in a huge, devastating vortex that rocketed forward, tearing into the enraged Kidomaru, who hadn't been able to escape the vast area of the jutsu before it collided with him, catching him in the rapidly spinning water and smashing him into the tree line, uprooting and smashing through trees until the jutsu died down, leaving a disfigured mass of flesh in the new clearing. The clones dispelled, leaving Naruto alone in the clearing, Kurama's chakra receding back into his body, along with the fatigued feeling of losing the chakra. There is no possible way he is getting up from that, thought Naruto as he moved to the barrel holding Sasuke. Karen though that he was coming for her and started trembling in fear. I'm not going to hurt you. I meant what I said earlier. If you are an Uzumaki, we are from the same clan, and if not, you are still of use to the village, and it would be nice to have another friend. Stated Naruto kindly as he tried to open the barrel, only to find that it wouldn't budge. Why won't this thing open? Karen was about to responded when her face turned pale. Suigetsu. What's a Suigetsu? Questioned Naruto before he felt a presence behind him. He drew his sword and spun around, only to see a teen, roughly his own age. Purple eyes and white hair matched his purple shirt and white pants. Who are you and what do you want? Fool. The bitch just said my name. I'm Suigetsu Hazuka, and I want my sword. Fool. The bitch just said my name. I'm Suigetsu Hazuka, and I want my sword. Stated Suigetsu in annoyance. Hell, he was an infamous enough ninja, he was almost part of the Seven Swordsmen, any Jonin should know who he is. Where's your sword? I don't see it anywhere. Stated Naruto, acting dumb. This is my sword. Zabuza trusted me with it and I will guard it with my life. The one on your back, you little shit. I'm the next in line to that blade. Snarled Suigetsu, radiating killer intent. He left it to me. I have the letter back home to prove it. But if you really want to see who deserves it more, let's just see. Stated Naruto as he drew the giant blade off his back, directing his own killer intent at the silver-haired teen. Alright, I know nothing about this guy other than he really wants this sword. If he really was the next in line, then he must be one hell of a swordsman. This brat can actually lift the Kubikiribocho after fighting against the Sound 4 already. I guess he has some skill, but there's no way he's better than me. Thought Suigetsu, who unsealed a claymore from a seal on his belt. With Jiraiya, he beat the last group without much trouble. But this guy is in a league above the others. Jonin level chakra reserves and strong judging from the size of that claymore. Be careful Gaki. Thought Jiraiya as he observed the group below him. The redhead is staying put, though she might just be guarding the barrel until Naruto is defeated or more help arrives. I know you've got a lot left in the tank kid, but I hope you conserve it. There's no telling what's going to happen. Back to the fight. You're on brat. This claymore is the training sword for the Seven Swordsmen, it's made of the same metal as that sword in your hand. I'll take my sword back, then I'll kill you with it. And I'll do it using Zabuza's jutsu. Shouted Suigetsu. Hidden mist jutsu. Naruto could only smirk as he watched the mist roll in. He barely contained himself when he found he could still see his opponent. Oh, this brings back memories of when I first learned this jutsu. Let me show you how it's really done. Suddenly, the mist got much denser, so much so that Suigetsu felt like there was actual weight being placed on top of him. What? How much chakra does he have? Even Mangetsu didn't have mist this thick. Thought Suigetsu as he readied himself for the blonde's eventual attack. He didn't have to wait long as instincts took over and he blocked a sweeping slash that would have taken his head off. I didn't even hear him. How is that possible? So he can keep up with me in the mist. That's going to complicate things. If I don't have the advantage here, then I have to resort to ninjutsu, but Pervy Sage told me to conserve energy until backup gets here. Thought Naruto as he prepared his next attack. You might as well dismiss this mist. While you're good, I'm better. Taunted Suigetsu as he closed his eyes and tried to sense the blonde. If that were true, you wouldn't be telling me that. You are either lying, or an idiot. Stated Naruto from everywhere at once again putting Suigetsu off. Come out and fight, coward. Shouted Suigetsu, trying to force his way through the images of Zabuza hunting him in the mist. Absolute silence followed his shout. No sound at all. Wait, there should be at least some sound. Is this mist really thick enough to block out the outside sounds? He was taken out of his musings when his danger senses went absolutely wacky, telling him that he was surrounded. Thinking quickly, Suigetsu reverted to water, letting several slashes pass right through him. What the hell? There's only one of him. How did I get slashed by 7 different blades? Meanwhile, Naruto was also reviewing what just happened. What? But not even Yamato can escape my 7 clone cut. The blades just passed right through him, like he was made out of water. What jutsu was that? I haven't seen anything like it before. Questioned Naruto as he resumes his predatory position, which was actually right behind Suigetsu. That's because it wasn't a jutsu. That's my bloodline, stated Suigetsu arrogantly, his confidence returning. I can draw power from the water around me. With enough of it, I can even regenerate. That doesn't make any sense. I've kept him right there, so he couldn't have gotten any water from the valley, and any water around here is laced with my chakra, which would be too potent for his body to use. That must mean that his entire body is already water, or can turn into water. In any case, I need to get rid of this mist. If I can see him, I can figure out just how to defeat his bloodline. Thought Naruto as he slowly absorbed the chakra back into himself, drawing the mist away from his opponent. If he can truly absorb water for health, then maybe I can hurt him with fire attacks. But all I know is some low-level ones and I need Kurama for my big one. Shit, he's actually removing the mist. Now I need a new water source. Thought Suigetsu as he prepared to launch an attack at the blonde. A sudden influx of chakra caught both their attention as they simultaneously turned their heads to the source, their eyes landing on Sasuke, who had at some point escaped the barrel and now was covered in a pattern of black flames and standing over the downed form of Karen. Unfortunately, this was also the time when the retrieval squad entered the clearing. Dobi. Finally. I'll finally prove I'm better than you. Shouted Sasuke manically before looking at the group behind him, locking eyes with Shikamaru. You'll be next, Nara. Shit. If I have to fight off both of them, Kurama. Give me 20%, shouted Naruto, confusing all in the clearing. A shockwave exploded outward from the blonde as he was enveloped by a bright orange flame, before he disappeared and reappeared before the retrieval team. All of you stay back. This isn't a fight that you can help in. No, we're going to help you, shouted Ino, her pride not accepting that they couldn't help. These two are above your league, you will only get in my way, stated Naruto while he gave a glance to Shikamaru. If any of them come to help, stop them. You got it, stated Shikamaru, getting a shocked look from most of the retrieval team. We have no intel on the one holding the claymore and we all saw Sasuke last time he had those marks, the most we could do is hold our own. Ah, Dobi cares about his fellow losers. Too bad I'm unstoppable with this new power, stated Sasuke, his eyes boring into Naruto. You are nothing more than a zit on my Uchiha, stated Naruto as he pulled the Kubikiribocho off of his back. Sasuke snarled at the jab. Don't give me that look, I taught you once before how far beneath me you are. In an instant, Naruto disappeared at mid to high Jonin speed. Sasuke was smashing into a tree that was about 50 feet from where he had started and Suigetsu was cut in half at the waist. No, I won't be beaten by the Dobi, shouted a furious Sasuke, apparently no worse for the wear after being kicked into a tree. Another explosion of malicious chakra erupted from the Uchiha as his skin turned an ash-like color, his hair grew longer and his face adapted a cross-like pattern over his nose. Finally, a huge pair of bat-like wings grew out of Sasuke's back. Yes, this is what Orochimaru wanted to have. With this power I will show all of you the true power of the Uchiha. Unknown location. What a crude boy, stated Shinigami, his face blank as it usually was, though he had a normal voice now, seeing as he had no reason to try and scare this group any longer. I just can't understand how one of Makoto-chan's children is this dark and twisted, stated Minato, a disapproving look on his face. Well, he is Fugaku Tem's son. Nothing that man has ever done has turned out right, stated Kushina. Be that as I may, this is not the same boy who sacrificed himself for his comrade when they fought Haku. I'd bet that seal that's giving him that power is to blame, stated Zabuza, gaining a nod from everyone else. Such a shame. The Uchiha was a powerful clan, Yet they seem to have apart fallen just like the Kagaya did. They didn't really fall apart. Stated Kushina. Itachi-kun killed off the clan elders and ninja when they tried to rebel and take over the village. What? I thought that he did it to test his skills. Questioned Zabuza. Why would he test his skills on some weak clan like the Uchiha? He was stronger than every one of them, barring Makoto-chan, by the time he was 13. Stated Minato, praising the teen highly. You know, the way you talk about him, I'd say that you love him as much as you do Naruto. Stated Zabuza with a taunting smirk. The only reason he dared taunt one of the deadliest man to ever live was that he was already dead. Well, that's probably because it's true. After all, Itachi couldn't be the son of that weak jutsu thief Fugaku. Stated Kushina, getting everyone in the room to freeze. Sensing the obvious confusion, Minato decided to fill everyone in. You see, I've loved Kushina since I was about 8 years old, and we've been smitten ever since. However, Kushina wanted to experiment, and the only one she trusted enough to have join in was her best friend, Makoto Uchiha. At the time, Makoto was single, and the rest you should be able to figure out yourselves. Now everyone was speechless. Itachi Uchiha, the clan slayer, was actually Itachi Uchiha Namikaze, son of the Yellow Flash. Hold right the hell up. I've read the bingo book about 1,000,000 times over, and I can say, without a doubt, that Itachi is a near replica of Fugaku Uchiha of the Konoha military police force. Stated Zabuza, his mind whirling. Well, isn't that proof enough? Sasuke looks a lot more like Makoto than Fugaku, and if Itachi was both their child, shouldn't he look like both of them? Stated Shinigami, a grin that could kill a small child across his face. You used an appearance seal, didn't you? Yes. Had I not, Makoto would have been banished from the clan and lost her rightful place as clan leader. It was tricky since it had to be undetectable from Dujutsu and I had to alter physical appearance in a way that made Itachi look as if he took after both Fugaku and Makoto. If you look closely, the only trait that Itachi seems to share with Fugaku is his distinct hair troughs around his eyes, and that is a product of the seal. However, aside from that, Itachi looks more like Makoto from the basic shape of his face and hair, but his eyes hold a closer resemblance to my own and his hair was originally blonde like my own. There was also the issue of keeping Fugaku away from Makoto during birth so he wouldn't notice Itachi's distinct features at birth, and that was done easily enough by having the seal prepped ahead of time for the doctor to apply. This was done by a shinobi council meeting which Fugaku took part in place of Makoto. During wartime, as was the case, it wasn't a hard sell and Kushina stayed by Miko-chan's side as Fugaku had no problem with their friendship. Although after his whole life with a seal that even he is unaware of, I'd imagine that his physical appearance as it is now would likely not change greatly, even if it was somehow found and removed. The most that he would change would be growing blonde hair and maybe grow an inch or two. Anyway, from what I understand, the clan elders took the role of clan leader away when Makoto retired from active duty to raise Sasuke. So it seems that my helping her was for naught in the end. But given what happened to the clan as a whole, I can't say whether I would do the same if given a second chance. Stated Minato. That would explain why Itachi is so powerful and smart, yet also explain why this brat turned out so bad. If he was babied because he was Fugaku's actual son, he might have developed this superiority complex. Stated Zabuza, thinking that it couldn't get any more surprising if he tried. Fugaku didn't know. Makoto and he were forcefully married the week after Itachi was conceived by the Uchiha Council so that they would have control over Makoto. The only ones who know are myself, Minato, Makoto, you two, and the nurse who helped deliver Itachi. Stated Kushina. Actually, I bet my life that Kakashi-kun knows too. That boy is incredibly gifted. So Sarutobi does not know this then? Questioned Shinigami, a nefarious smile growing on his horrifying visage. No, Sarutobi believes that Itachi was simply born 2 weeks early. Stated Minato. And now that I think about it, I would tend to guess so as well. Kakashi always did look at Itachi funny whenever they crossed paths, but that might have been due to close proximity to Obito. That seal took a while to take hold. Hell, Itachi had dark blue eyes until he was 3. So who was this medic that delivered him? Questioned Zabuza. Tsunade Senju. Back to the fight. Naruto watched with bated breath as Sasuke's curse seal advanced once again. Shit. He can use the next level like Spider Face did. I have to stop him before he gets to the next level like that spider freak did, or he might use Chidoriya's gloves. I can't use the hidden mist jutsu, otherwise Puddle Boy over there will just keep getting stronger. Naruto began pumping wind chakra into the giant sword, causing it to glow an unearthly green. Sasuke grew confused with the chakra coming off of Naruto's sword. What is this? I've never seen green chakra before. Suigetsu on the other hand, became desperately frightened. That's chakra flow, and he's using it with wind chakra. I need to keep him at a distance. I won't be able to reform properly if he cuts me with that. The only way this could get worse is if he starts using lightning chakra. Damn that Kabuto. Naruto once again disappeared, slashing at the Uchiha, who barely blocked it with one of his wings, though the wing was cut clean through and an inch-deep gash made its way to his left shoulder. Naruto followed up with a kick to the other side of his body, which also was blocked by his wing. Thought once again, Sasuke heard a bone snap cleanly, resulting in his right wing hanging limply at his side. Naruto disengaged with Sasuke and once again disappeared from view. Suigetsu, feeling that the blonde was coming for him, sped through hand seals and brought up a wall of water, just in time to deflect a wind-enhanced slash from the blonde. Retrieval Squad. The members of the Retrieval Squad watched in awe as the blonde made short work of the two obviously skilled people he was fighting as if they were nothing more than academy student. How is he this strong? I mean, yay, he beat Neji, but still. Stated Choji, his mind unable to find how he went from barely beating Kiba to destroying these two powerful fighters in just under 2 months. Troublesome. He obviously has been hiding his strength. I read the report on the C-rank mission that Team 7 all went on. If it wasn't for Naruto, Sasuke would have died and Kakashi might have too. Stated Shikamaru. Though to be this strong, I bet he could give Asuma a good workout, if not actually match him. This chakra though, it's the same that he used against Gaara. But it's not fire-natured. Stated Neji. It's almost like the Raikage's lightning armor. Fight. Sasuke Uchiha. You are to return to Konoha or be tried for treason. Stated Naruto, now that the Uchiha was on the defense. No. It's obvious that they are holding me back. Instead they train you. I've had it with that worthless village. I'm going to kill you and gain the strength I need to kill Itachi. Shouted Sasuke before he smirked. Actually, I'll start with them. Fire style. Grand Fireball Jutsu. The retrieval group watched in horror as a curse seal-fueled fireball rocketed towards them faster than they could move. Time slowed down as they waited for the end. Their visions became clouded by a wall of water, only to see Naruto to appear in front of them, swinging the mammoth sword like a fan. The force of the swing along with the wind chakra managed to overcome the fireball, canceling each other out. Jiraiya. Nice kid, you protected your comrades while attempting to redirect the fireball back at the Uchiha. I think that just about seals the deal on this. He's going to be executed. Thought Jiraiya. Either subdue him or kill him, kid. There is going to be a lot for you to work on. If it wasn't for Kyubi's chakra you would be dead in the water right now. I guess we can work on the dual element training as well as getting his body back up to snuff. Some time for proper healing will need to be in order for that though. I wonder if he can do chakra chains like Kushina could. Retrieval team. All members tensed as the red-headed girl moved to the downed Sound 4 member and picked her up. Neji was about to block her path, when she turned and moved slowly towards the team. Can you take us with you to Konoha? We've been trying to get out of Sound for a long time. Please take us with you. Pleaded the red-eyed girl. Yeah, Neji, keep an eye on them. The shorter one is in no condition to fight, but the other one is a wild card. Fight. Naruto suddenly had to block an overhead chop from Suigetsu, who had snuck up on the blonde during his confrontation with Sasuke. Naruto blocked with the wind-enhanced blade of the sword, cleaving the claymore in two, leaving only about a foot of the blade still attached to the sword. Using his opponent's shock to his advantage, he delivered a Kurama-enhanced kick to the chest of Suigetsu, sending the liquid nin flying to the edge of the valley, coming a few feet from falling over the edge. He had no time to rest as Sasuke made his appearance, his right hand full of lightning and aimed at his chest. To Naruto, he was still moving in slow motion. Naruto caught Sasuke's wrist and snapped it like a twig, forcing the Uchiha to howl in pain before Naruto tossed him in the same direction as Suigetsu. Naruto was slightly panting as he rested the sword on the ground, the wall of water still surrounding the retrieval group. For attacking a superior officer with intent to kill, you will die here today. Naruto's sword pulsed to life in a wave of wind chakra as he picked it up from the ground and held it horizontally in front of him in his right hand, his left flowing through hand seals. Fire transfer. Naruto breathed out a small flame onto the wind-coated blade, causing it to erupt into a raging blue inferno. Naruto held the blade up across his face and swung at the two ninja. Kenpo. Inferno wave slash. A wall of blue flames exploded from the blade at the curse-marked Uchiha and living puddle swordsman. Neither had time to dodge as the wind-enhanced blaze swept through the landscape, so both simply braced themselves. Sasuke's wings covered him completely while Suigetsu summoned a water wall in front of himself, hoping at the very least he would be able to recover, and waited out the inferno. Retrieval group. Unbelievable, was all Ino could muster at the sight of the powerful attack. She had noticed the water wall that was protecting them start to boil when the sword caught fire, and almost evaporate when her fellow blonde launched the attack, and they were in the opposite direction of the attack. Now everything seemed to freeze in time as they watched the blue flames envelop the mystery swordsman and Sasuke. Such power, stated Neji as he watched, Byakugan active, as the wall of flames rushed and consumed the two men that Naruto had been fighting. What is that red chakra? It's not fire chakra, it's much more dangerous and unrefined. Like the brown chakra that Gaara of the Sand used. Everyone, get ready to secure what's left of Sasuke, stated Shikamaru, shocking everyone. Seeing their shock, Shikamaru continued. Our mission is to retrieve Sasuke, no matter if he's alive or dead. If more people show up, me and Naruto will hold them off while you bring what's left of Sasuke back to the village. Hokage Tower. Hiruzen Sarutobi was worried. Last night, Sasuke Uchiha had left the village. He was no fool, the old man knew the boy left willingly, but that thrice-damned council still had a small amount of control over the village and it is best not to set them off. Sarutobi was taken out of his musings when he heard a faint cracking sound, as if someone had dropped a pot outside his door. Though it was much more horrible than that. The hair stood tall on the back of the old Sarutobi's neck when his eyes panned across his successor's picture. The framed picture of Minato Namikaze had a large crack in its protective glass that spanned the entire image. No, there are only 3 ties that Minato has left in this world. Sarutobi slowly reached down and pulled open the bottom left drawer in his desk, revealing several framed pictures, the top one having an identical crack in it as the Yondaime's. Naruto. Anbu, shouted Sarutobi. He waited as 2 teams of Anbu flooded the room in an instant. I want one team to go to the border and help out with the securing of Sasuke Uchiha and any other enemies present. Cat, you will lead this mission. The primary objective is to capture the fugitive. The secondary, Naruto is in danger. Cat, a rather short Anbu with long purple hair and a katana across her back was now frozen. I will complete this mission. Team R, move out. In a flash of leaves, the team was gone, leaving the second Anbu team standing there. What are our orders, sir? Questioned the Tora-masked Anbu. Tenzo. You are to follow them alone and make absolute sure that Naruto does not lose control. I feel as though he will be forced to use more than he is ready for. In Wave. For the second time in the last 2 months, a beautiful red-headed woman stepped off a ship and onto the docks in the port city of Wave. I haven't been gone more than a couple of months and this place looks even better than when I was here last, stated the redhead with a smile. It's thanks to our hero that we can strive once again, stated a young dock worker, no more than 16. I'm guessing you mean Naruto, giggled the redhead. Yes ma'am, he did save the country after all, states another, older gentleman, who was dressed rather well and had a canteen of each side of his hip. My name is Tazuna, expert bridge builder and leader of Wave Country, how may I help you? Well Tazuna, I am Mei Terumi, elite Jonin of Kurigakure. I'm just passing through on my way to Konoha, stated Mei, leaving out the fact that she had been there before. Elite Jonin huh, last one of them we had here was Scarecrow. You don't look very Jonin-like, stated Tazuna brashly, showing that he hasn't changed much. Before Mei even had the chance to get mad, the man that had followed her off the ship spoke up. Scarecrow, you mean that Kakashi Hatake was here? Stated Ao, a former hunter nin and sole holder of the Byakugan in Kiri. Yep, he was here with Naruto and those other two brats, stated Tazuna. If you're looking for the brat, tell him that Inari wants him to visit soon. Back to the fight. Everyone watched with bated breath as the raging inferno passed by, revealing the charred wings of Sasuke and a broken sword that had previously been held by Suigetsu, his body gone. Naruto stayed on alert, knowing that his ultimate move hadn't ended the fight, and waited for anything that might happen next. His worry was proven right when the charcoaled wings of Sasuke broke off and turned to dust, revealing the Uchiha to be slowly turning back into his normal self. Naruto kept his guard up as Sasuke's burn-ridden, curse-marked form reverted back, revealing a slightly burnt and cut-up Sasuke, whose eyes rolled up into the back of his head as he collapsed face-first onto the scorched earth. Shika, go get him, then all of you need to leave right now, commanded Naruto, his chakra cloak still active, confusing the team. You heard him. Kiba, Neji, you two are the fastest, clear our route back, Choji, bind him and pick him up. Me and Ino will cover you, stated Shikamaru. Understanding the gravity of the situation, he then looked at the two redheads. Follow Neji and Kiba. What's wrong Shika? Naruto-kun just took out all the enemies, stated Ino, still in awe of the powerful sword technique, though she was startled when a large man came down from the trees. He's right Gakis, you have to leave right now, stated Jiraiya in a serious voice from next to Naruto, shocking the retrieval squad with his sudden appearance. Now Jiraiya, we need some witnesses, so the whole world knows of how the baka of the Sannin fell to the genius, stated a slippery and dangerously friendly voice. Everyone looked to where both Naruto and Jiraiya had been starring. Across the valley stood two men, one they all recognized, Kabuto, the other man, the one had black hair, was none other than Orochimaru. Sensei may have escaped me, but you will not. And it just wouldn't do for you brats to take what is mine. You need to leave right now. You have no place in this battle, commanded Naruto, his eyes never leaving the two in front of him. They have no choice, stated Orochimaru, grinning as he went through hand seals. Earth style. Arena trap. As he did this he took note of both his subordinates that were in the jutsu's area of effect and their reaction, which was not what he expected. Suddenly, a large earthen wall erupted around the clearing, trapping the retrieval team and their captives inside. The only out was either over the wall, or past the snake Sannin. So it seems you have betrayed me Karen. Don't worry, I'll be sure that you see the experiment table soon enough, just like I did with your mother. Everyone stay put. He will pick us off if we try to leave. We have to stay here, form up around Sasuke. We can't let him get away, stated Shikamaru, trying to figure out a plan. Karen seemed to be shaking at Orochimaru's words, but his duty first and foremost was to his team and then the seemingly refugees. You must be a Nara. Odd that you would become a Chunin at such a young age, stated Kabuto with a confident smirk. But then again, Naruto made special Jonin at the age of 13, so I can say that the standards of Leaf Nin have dropped considerably. Naruto knew that jab was completely directed at him, and ignored it completely. Jiraiya-sensei, should we bring out some help? I like your style, Gaki. Jiraiya smirked. Both Leaf Nin began going through hand seals. Seeing this, both Orochimaru and Kabuto went through their own summoning jutsu.